All right, so we're diving into an audio essay today, and it takes a pretty unconventional look at the 1999 film Dogma.
Dogma.
Yeah, you remember that one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ben Affleck,
Ah.
Matt Damon as fallen angels causing
Yeah.
chaos.
Right.
Well, this essayist claims there's like a whole other layer to the movie,
Right.
like some serious spiritual truths
Interesting.
hiding beneath all the jokes and irreverence.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Can a movie that's so outwardly satirical also be making a deeper point? You know?
It really does.
Hmm.
And right off the bat,
Yeah.
this essayist points out something I never even considered.
Okay.
The film starts with that disclaimer, telling viewers not to take it seriously.
Oh, right.
And they actually suggest that this could be a deliberate tactic, almost like reverse psychology, to make us dismiss anything thought-provoking.
Wow.
Honestly, that sounds a bit out there to me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know about that.
Is it really possible to, like, program an audience that way?
Well, filmmakers definitely use all sorts of techniques to shape our perceptions, right?
Right.
Framing, editing, music, it can all influence our emotional responses.
Absolutely.
Subtly, yeah. But I'm not sure a single disclaimer could completely override our critical thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it's more likely that it's meant to add a layer of irony,
Okay.
playing with the audience's expectations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we're primed to be skeptical,
Right.
and then we get hit with this scene
Okay.
where Matt Damon's character, Loki,
Uh-huh.
is talking to a nun.
Yeah.
He uses that poem, The Walrus and the Carpenter, from Through the Looking Glass, to argue against organized religion.
Interesting.
He compares the Walrus and the Carpenter to religious leaders who devour their followers.
Wow.
It's quite a leap, don't you think?
It is, and that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
The essayist is clearly drawing a parallel there. Between the poem's darker undertones and their perception of organized religion as manipulative.
Right.
Whether or not Lewis Carroll intended that critique is debatable.
Yeah.
But, it shows how art can be reinterpreted
Right.
and repurposed in different contexts.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think about how we bring our own baggage to our interpretations of art.
Right.
But the essayist doesn't stop there.
Okay.
They latch onto this fictional fast food chain in the movie called Moobies.
Movies, huh?
The mascot is, of course, a golden calf.
Right.
And they see this as like a direct link to the biblical story.
Oh, wow.
Suggesting the film is making a statement about modern-day idolatry.
The golden calf is a potent symbol, isn't it?
Yeah.
It represents myth-placed worship, putting something other than the divine in the center of our lives. Think about your own life,
Yeah.
What are some golden calves we worship today? Maybe it's the latest smartphone social media validation, or even the pursuit of wealth and status.
Wow, when you put it like that, it really hits home.
Does it?
I know I've definitely fallen prey to some of those golden calves myself.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that in the film, these so-called demons,
Right.
the fallen angels are the ones calling out this idolatry. It's like they're holding up a mirror to humanity's flaws.
Exactly. And that brings us to another fascinating point the essayist makes
Okay.
about the nature of angels and humans.
Right.
There's this scene where the fallen angels are actually jealous of humans.
Rightly.
They're bitter
Mm-hmm.
because humans have free will and God's favor, something they lack.
I found that scene really thought-provoking.
Did you?
Why would angels, these supposedly perfect beings, be envious of us flawed humans?
Well, theologically speaking, angels are often depicted as beings of pure intellect and obedience.
Okay.
They don't have the same capacity for independent choice that we do.
Hmm.
And this scene cleverly flips the script,
Right.
portraying them as resentful of that very limitation.
And
It makes us consider whether true freedom actually lies in the ability to choose, even if it means the potential for making the wrong choices.
that's a great point.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're saying, sure, humans can mess things up,
Uh-huh.
but at least they have the freedom to try to learn to grow.
Precisely. And that idea ties into another scene the essayist focuses on,
Okay.
Loki's big rant, where he seems to echo Lucifer's rebellion against God.
Oh, yeah.
They analyze the language, comparing it to how Lucifer is portrayed in art and literature,
Right.
painting him as this embodiment of pride and defiance.
It's interesting because on the surface, that scene is just Loki having a meltdown.
Yeah.
But when you look deeper,
Uh-huh.
there's this whole exploration of the fallen angel archetype.
Right.
It speaks to our fascination with rebellion with challenging authority, even divine
It makes you
authority.
wonder, what's the appeal of the fallen angel?
Yeah.
Why are we so drawn to these characters who dare to defy the established order?
That's a question worth pondering.
It is.
But one thing's for sure.
Yeah.
This essayist is making a strong case for Dogma being more than just a goofy comedy.
Right.
They seem to believe it's part of this larger tradition of using art to explore these profound spiritual and philosophical concepts.
Absolutely. They argue that Dogma, and perhaps other Hollywood films, contain hidden truths about religion and spirituality, concealed within seemingly superficial narratives.
It's a bold claim,
It is.
but they back it up with some pretty compelling analysis.
Yeah.
So are they saying filmmakers are intentionally embedding these deeper meanings? Or is it more about how we, the audience, interpret art through our own lenses?
It's probably a bit of both.
Okay.
Artists may consciously or unconsciously infuse their work with symbolism,
Right.
drawing from their own experiences and beliefs.
Yeah.
But the beauty of art is that it's subjective.
Yeah.
Each viewer brings their own unique perspective, potentially uncovering meanings the artist never even intended.
That's a fascinating point.
Or they-
So even a film like Dogma, which seems to poke fun at religion,
Right.
could actually be sparking genuine spiritual reflection in some viewers.
Exactly. It challenges us to engage with art on a deeper level,
Yeah.
to look beyond the surface narrative and consider the potential layers of meaning embedded within.
And that's what makes this deep dive so intriguing.
Yeah.
We're uncovering these layers of meaning that go far beyond the surface jokes and slapstick humor.
It's a testament to the power of art to hold a mirror up to ourselves,
Right.
forcing us to confront both our light and shadow sides.
Okay, one more point before we wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Right.
The essayist makes a big deal out of the fact that the people making and financing these kinds of movies, the ones who are supposedly trying to undermine faith and traditional values, are the same ones who are revealing these hidden truths about religion and spirituality.
Wow.
They see it as some kind of cosmic irony or even a form of subconscious confession.
That's a thought-provoking interpretation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It suggests that even those who may consciously reject or mock religious ideas may be unconsciously grappling with them,
Yeah.
perhaps projecting their own unresolved conflicts or fascinations onto their creations.
It's like they can't escape these big questions about faith and meaning and the nature of good and evil, even if they're trying to.
Yeah. It really highlights the enduring power of those archetypal themes,
Right.
and their ability to resurface even in unexpected places,
Right.
challenging our assumptions and pushing us to delve deeper into these mysteries of existence.
It really makes you wonder what other hidden truths might be lurking in our favorite movies.
Right.
I mean, we just took a deep dive into Dogma.
Yeah.
What about other films that play with religious themes?
Well, think about a movie like The Matrix.
The Matrix.
On the surface, it's a sci-fi action film,
Uh-huh.
but it also explores ideas of fate versus free will,
Okay.
the nature of reality, and even the concept of a chosen one, which has strong parallels in religious narratives.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like those themes are hiding in plain sight.
Right.
And speaking of hiding in plain sight,
Yeah.
let's go back to Dogma for a minute.
Okay.
The essayist spends a lot of time analyzing that scene where Loki and Bartleby confront the board members of Moobies.
Oh, right.
You know, where they call them out for their greed and hypocrisy?
Right.
That scene is fascinating
It is.
because it flips the script on our expectations of good and evil.
Yeah.
Here you have these fallen angels who we're supposed to see as the bad guys, acting as a kind of divine judgment on these corporate executives who are exploiting people for profit.
It's like they're saying, look, even these demons
Right.
can recognize true moral corruption when they see it.
It makes you wonder, are the real demons the ones in suits? The ones who prioritize profit over people?
It definitely challenges our assumptions
Yeah.
about who the real villains are.
Mm.
And it forces us to examine our own values.
Mm.
How we navigate a world where power and wealth often seem to trump morality.
Right.
Are we complicit in systems that perpetuate injustice? Or are we actively working to create a more ethical and compassionate world?
Those are some heavy questions,
They are.
but I think that's what makes this deep dive so valuable.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about a silly comedy.
Right.
We're grappling with some fundamental questions about humanity and our place in the universe.
And those questions are often more potent when they come from unexpected sources.
Yeah.
A movie like Dogma can sneak up on us, catching us off guard and making us think about things we might otherwise avoid.
You know, it's interesting that the essayist keeps coming back to that golden calf imagery. They seem convinced it's a key to understanding the film's message about modern-day idolatry.
And it's a message that resonates deeply, especially in our current cultural climate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're bombarded with messages telling us to buy more, consume more, strive for more.
Right.
It's easy to get caught up in that cycle and lose sight of what truly matters. This scene with the movie's mascot could be interpreted as a wake-up call, urging us to re-examine our priorities and consider what we're truly placing on the altar of our hearts.
I think that's a really insightful point.
Is it?
It's like the film is holding up a mirror to our own consumerist tendencies
Right.
and asking, is this really what you want to worship?
Yeah.
But it's not all doom and gloom, right? I mean, Dogma is ultimately a comedy. There's a lot of humor and even hope woven into the story.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it so compelling.
Right.
It manages to balance these profound philosophical and theological questions with a sense of playfulness and even absurdity.
Right.
It's not preaching at us. It's inviting us to laugh at ourselves,
Yeah.
to question our assumptions and to find moments of grace even in the midst of chaos.
Now, there's one scene that really stuck with me.
Good.
And it's the one that the essayist describes as almost disturbing.
Really?
It's where Loki completely loses it ranting about how jealous he is of humans.
Oh, yeah.
And how much he hates waiting to return to heaven.
Right.
Bartleby even tells him he sounds like Lucifer.
Wow.
It's a pretty intense moment.
That scene is crucial because it exposes the raw, unfiltered emotions driving the fallen angels.
Right.
It reminds us that even these beings who were once close to God are capable of experiencing envy, resentment, and even despair.
And isn't that ultimately a reflection of our own human struggles?
It is.
We all experience those dark emotions at times. It's part of what makes us human.
Exactly. And by showing us these emotions in such an exaggerated form, Dogma encourages us to confront our own shadow side.
Yeah.
It reminds us that evil isn't necessarily an external force, but something that can fester within us if we allow it.
So how do we prevent those negative emotions from taking over? What's the antidote to Loki's bitterness and rage?
Oh, I think the film offers some clues.
Okay.
Despite his flaws, Loki is ultimately redeemed through acts of compassion and self-sacrifice. It suggests that even when we fall, there's always the possibility of redemption, of choosing love over hate, even in the face of adversity and disappointment.
That's a powerful message, especially coming from a film that's so irreverent and often controversial.
It is.
It makes you wonder if maybe the essayist is right.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more to Dogma than meets the eye.
It certainly challenges us to reconsider our initial impressions.
Right.
Maybe what appears to be sacrilegious on the surface is actually a profound meditation on faith and the human condition. And maybe, just maybe, it's that willingness to push boundaries and provoke discomfort that allows us to access deeper truths.
It's like Dogma is this Trojan horse, sneaking in these big ideas under the guise of a buddy comedy.
Right.
And, it makes me think about something essayist touched on earlier.
Yeah.
The idea that even those who seem to reject religion might actually be wrestling with these questions of faith and spirituality in a deeper way than they realize.
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it?
It is.
It's as if these creators are drawn to these themes even if they're trying to subvert or challenge them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because those questions of faith, meaning, and purpose are so fundamental to the human experience that we can't escape them entirely.
Maybe those questions are embedded in our DNA somehow.
Maybe.
But getting back to Dogma, the essayist seems to be arguing that it's not just a film that contains hidden truths about religion, but that it might actually be a deeply spiritual film itself, even if it's disguised as a comedy.
And that's the beauty of art, isn't it?
Yeah.
It can operate on multiple levels, offering both entertainment and profound insights. It's up to each individual to decide how they want to engage with it.
So what are we left with after this deep dive? I mean, we've explored a lot of heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Idolatry, free will, the nature of good and evil. And we've done it all through the lens of a movie that's full of fart jokes and crude humor. It's been quite a ride.
It has. But I think that's what makes this exploration so valuable.
Yeah.
We've allowed ourselves to be surprised, to find depth and meaning in unexpected places. We've challenged our assumptions about what a spiritual film can look like. And we've engaged in a dialogue about some of the biggest questions that have plagued humanity for centuries.
It's like that quote.
What quote?
We don't see things as they are. We see them as we are.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that applies to films, too. We bring our own beliefs and experiences to our interpretations. And those interpretations can be incredibly diverse.
Exactly. And there's no right or wrong answer.
Right.
The important thing is to be open to multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
To engage with art critically, and to allow ourselves to be challenged and even transformed by what we encounter.
Well said.
Thanks.
You know, I'm already starting to see movies in a whole new light after this conversation.
Really?
I'm paying more attention to the symbolism, the subtle messages, and the underlying themes. It's like a whole new world has opened up.
And that's the beauty of exploring art with an open mind.
Yeah.
It can enrich our understanding of ourselves, the world around us, and even the nature of existence itself.
So to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
we encourage you to take what we've discussed today and apply it to your own viewing experiences.
Okay.
The next time you watch a movie, any movie,
Yeah.
ask yourself what's beneath the surface. What's the filmmaker trying to say, and what does it mean to me?
Right.
You might be surprised by the depths you discover, even in the most unexpected places.
And remember, there's no one right interpretation.
Right.
Embrace the ambiguity. Engage in the dialogue, and allow yourself to be moved and inspired by the power of art.
Beautifully put.
Thank
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder those deeper meanings. Until next time, keep diving.